Okay, let's welcome our audience. Welcome to the Ready, Set, Gemini podcast. I am your host, Dan Mora. Directly across from me, my co-host.
Hey everybody, it's Frank here.
Yeah, so how you doing, Frank?
Doing fantastic.
We this weekend we had our conference.
Oh yeah,
our convention down at CAW.
Nice.
So it was really good turnout. I saw a lot of great people. Nothing. I attended the classes, and I don't think there was anything earth-shattering.
Okay.
But really good turnout. There's a lot of. I think the thing I noticed, a couple things I noticed. Number one, the attendance was pretty good, strong, and then really a lot of new faces. More. I feel like there was more than I've ever seen before. People that I didn't recognize have been doing these shows for 20 years, twice a year,
Are people attending that just haven't attended before, or are there new people coming into the work comp market?
It kind of feels like there's new attorneys, new blood.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my.
How about the booth?
How
did the booth go?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We like to switch it up, so we did something a little different, a little more casual.
Okay.
And that was well received for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's get into our topic, eh?
Sure.
So we found this article from ScienceDirect.com, and this is apprenticeship training results in fewer workplace injuries. So great article. This was a very scientific article that highlighted that workplace injuries were less likely to happen. So the study was from 2000 to 2018, and the workplace injuries, including muscular, what do they call that? Muscular skeletal injuries, was 40% higher with no apprenticeship training in total work comp claims. It's interesting. Huh?
Interesting.
I'm not too surprised. I mean, this is the model for apprenticeship training. You know, it's you're supervised by experienced folks and mentors. And it made me think, though, you know, where's the state of apprenticeship in, you know, America, in the business world right now?
Good question. I don't think it's very heavy at Amazon. That's the first thing that came to my mind, is they just got some OSHA violations for not having safe workplaces. Maybe they need to read this article that you found, Dan.
Yeah, that's referring back to a couple podcasts ago where their rate was more than double.
Yeah.
The Amazon rate for work injury was more than double. Not only they probably don't have a apprenticeship program, but they probably some other issues going on there.
So when you talk about apprenticeship, I think of like unions, and like you start off kind of as an apprentice and you kind of work your way up through like journeyman. Is this article reflecting to apprenticeship in that nature? Like these are like the early employees that just come into a company and they need to learn the ropes type of thing?
This study was very focused on plumbing. And
okay.
Yeah, it was the journey level plumbers apprenticeship program.
Gotcha. Okay.
This one was very specific. So, you know, this article claims or is making the assumption that in general, apprenticeship programs reduce workplace injuries. I think it's very logical that's the case.
I mean, we know here at Gemini, training is critical. Obviously, you know, we have a lot less opportunities for injuries than, you know, a profession like plumbing. But what we recognize is when we train people, we get better performance in an industrial type job. Better training probably equates to a lot less injury as well.
Right. You're trained on the operation of the tools. I myself worked on aircraft, and it was critical, obviously, that we were heavily focused on safety.
Yeah. I think we had this conversation recently about me punching myself in the face and almost knocking myself out. Yeah. They probably taught you like, hey, when you're pulling really hard on a nut that won't break, don't pull towards your face, because when it does break, you can knock yourself out. That would have been great. I should have had an apprenticeship for how to work on my own car.
Yeah. We had some when I was working on jets, there was some injuries. Mostly in that, from that perspective, you're just general mechanics. You're turning a wrench. How do you do this safely?
For sure.
Some of them were not pretty. One guy busted out his 2 front teeth.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was not fun.
Doing that same thing.
It was a tow hitch that was spring loaded. Hitch that was spring loaded, and he had his foot on it. It slipped off. And,
ooh,
ouch.
That doesn't sound like fun.
No. Yeah, so I did a little bit of research, and it's pretty interesting. The state, a lot of times the state and the federal government will support with funding for these types of programs. So there's a tax credit, for example, in California for companies that utilize apprenticeship programs, official apprenticeship programs. I was really surprised at the number of types of jobs and the, for example, in the tech industry, the data analyst. There's a apprenticeship nationally recognized where they sanction a credential. So for it's on my mind because we've been thinking about data analysts. We're hiring
right now. Yeah,
a data analyst. But there's all kinds. It was just a huge list in the federal website for apprenticeships. A little bit thinner on the California one, and I don't think that. I think it was like CaliforniaApprenticeship.org. So I don't think it was an official state website that listed all the apprenticeship opportunities. Did you happen to do any apprenticeship type of work growing up?
No.
Yeah. Know anybody that went through those types of programs?
I'm not sure. I got a buddy that did the air conditioning, but I'm not sure and he went to some type of school for it. I don't know if that would be considered like an apprenticeship or.
Yeah, HVAC's
like
is
HVAC.
Definitely a sheet metal.
Mm-hmm. It's like carpenters, masons, shipwrights, fashion designers.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what does that look like? I don't even understand what an apprenticeship for a fashion designer would look like.
Yeah.
Is essentially like a school where they just learn.
Well, it's not
best
school.
practice.
That's kind of the point of apprenticeships.
So it's on the job.
It's OJT, on the job training. Where with your partner usually.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, famous people that I have on this list. Paul Revere was a silversmith apprentice. Benjamin Franklin was a printing apprentice. George Washington was a surveyor apprentice. Yeah, carpenters, masons, shipwrights. There's a huge list. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some. In addition, there was a National Apprenticeship Act that was enacted in 1937. And interestingly enough, I noticed that 1937 was the year from our last topic that there was another. My understanding of history, my study of history, had the stock market crash of 29, but it was far over a decade before things actually recovered. So this is 8 years later, where that 1937, and the workers' compensation framework was definitely improved and established very early in the 20th century. A lot of things happened around that time to kind of codify, discrimination, anti-discrimination, and just safety and health and general welfare. The act itself in 1937, it was intended to, pour some cement around standardization for safety and health, and also prevent against discrimination.
I'm thinking about this idea of apprenticeships and the cost of insurance. I wonder if there's any correlation. Like if you are a company and you're going out and you're creating apprenticeships, do you get benefits on insurance, things like that to take care of your work comp? Like if you can prove 40% sick reduction in, this one says decline in acute injuries and musculoskeletal issues. That would be pretty interesting. That'd be a way to definitely incentivize people to take action. I mean, just the 46% reduction period should incentivize people, but
there may be. I would love to. I wish I knew. That would make complete sense, though, like you said.
And I'm wondering also with attorneys and the work comp system or industry in general, what types of discussions are happening out there to, involve labor with these types of ideas, and how you can benefit the industry as a whole.
I've got kids that are around the age where they're starting to explore, adult life, and so this intrigued me. So did a little bit of research as we were coming up on this. But yeah, I think that they're great questions. I'd love to hear from our audience kind of about how this all fits into what you're talking about when it comes to insurance costs and premiums, and also the unions and how they treat it. I think there's a strong tradition in unions for apprenticeship, especially in the regular trades, these construction trades, building trades, etc.
I also come to think about vouchers and how, vouchers is about returning to work and they go get education, but it seems like an apprenticeship would be a really good way to transition too. So if you're learning on the job, I think most people, kinesthetic type of learning is superior to, sitting at a school, especially if we're talking about, industrial type gigs, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, interesting conversation. Let our audience kind of give us some feedback on it.
Love to get some comments.
Yeah. Let's get some comments, some
likes,
subscribes, all that fun stuff.
Oh yeah.
Any final thoughts, Frank?
Yeah, this is one to ponder. I have to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. You got kids coming into that age where they're thinking about the future. And I think we automatically go to college, or we our minds automatically go to college. But I know for me personally, school and I did not get along super well.
Sure.
So it's lots of other options, military, whatever. There's lots of options out there. I think it's just good to talk about them all.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right.
Appreciate it.
Great. Yeah. Talk to you next time.